All right, here we are on Perfecting My Quads, task 3.7. And we've got 5 friends, Carlos, Clarita, Tia, Tehani, and their best friend Zach, and they're all discussing their favorite methods for solving quadratics. Isn't that what you do with your friends when you sit around? You discuss your favorite methods for solving quadratics? I know, right? Each student thinks about the related quadratic function as part of their strategy. So, for example, Carlos likes to make a table of values. Zach likes to graph the related quadratic. Clarita likes to write the equation in factored form and then solve. Tia likes to do vertex form, completing the square and then solve it. And finally, Tehani likes to do the full quadratic formula. So notice that there's multiple methods we could use for each quadratic. As you get better at these, you're going to realize there's a more efficient method to each one, and you can always choose which method to use that you think is most efficient. So Carlos's strategy, the first one here, is making a table. Zach's is the graph. Clarita's is factoring and then solve. Tia's is completing the square. And Tehani's is the full formula. We're going to do all these methods on this one and just see what we think. So starting with Carlos's strategy, the table. We've got x squared minus 2x minus 15. So let's pick just a couple of different options. -1, 0, 1, 2. Let's just try this and see how they look. If I plug in a -1, -1 squared times 2 times -1 minus 15, I'm going to get 1 plus 2, that's 3, minus 15. If I plug in 0, I get 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 15. So I just get -15. I get the constant at the end. When I plug in 1, I get 1 minus 2 minus 15. So that's -1. And when I plug in 2, I get 4 minus 4 is 0. I get -15. So notice the symmetry here. I got lucky in choosing my x values. Notice that right here, we start to see the repeat. So that means that this right here is our vertex, or the middle of the parabola, your line of symmetry. And so this table is now going to help us go and graph it for Zach's strategy. So let's go over and make a quick table. And we can see here that we should go put a vertex at 1, -16. I'm going to count by 2s. On the side, I'm going to count by 1s. But going down, I'm going to count by 2s. 2, 4, 6, 10, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So going out to 1, -16, and then doing 0, -15, and 1, 2, -15, we're going to see a parabola that basically does something like that. Okay, it would be nice if I had more points on that parabola so I could continue the table, but let's go look at Clarita's strategy and maybe we can get a couple more points. Clarita thinks that we should just do the factoring method. What times what equals negative 15 and subtracts to give us 2? You got it. 3 times 5. The 5 gets the negative. So my factors are x plus 3, x minus 5, and by zero product property, we can go solve each piece. And we see that we've got 2 solutions, 2 roots, 2 zeros at negative 3 and 5. So here's 2 other dots that I could go put on the graph now. And there's my nice wider graph. Okay. So far we've seen make a table, we've seen the graphing strategy, we used part of factoring in order to go complete that graph. I'd say you guys are really efficient at the factoring method, so if something can be factored, it's a really good route to take. But let's go see the 2 new strategies on Tia's way and Tehani's way. So if we were to try the completing the square method, we're going to go move the 0 to the left so we can do step 1, make space. So there we go, bumping it over to the right. Step 2, B work, B over 2 is going to be negative 2 over 2 squared, or negative 1 squared, which is just 1. So I'm going to be adding 1 and subtracting 1 to balance. Step 1, make space. Step 2, B work. Step 3, add and subtract. Okay. What perfect square factors does that make? And then there's a negative 16 at the end. You got it. It's the x minus 1 squared factors. Now that's vertex form, but I need to keep going to solve. So I'm going to add the 16 to get it on the left, so that I'm left with this something something squared. So I can just square root both sides in order to solve. So square root of 16, square root of x minus 1 squared, is going to leave me x minus 1. I'm actually going to, let's go squeeze this in somewhere so we can have some space. I'm going to write this backwards now. X minus 1 is equal to plus or minus 4. So the square root of x minus 1 squared, I put that on the left, and the square root of 16, I'm putting that on the right. And then I'm going to add 1 to both sides. I'm going to get that x equals 1 plus or minus 4. Now I just did this problem already with another strategy. I know the answer is supposed to be negative 3 and 5, but I got 1 plus or minus 4. Can you see how that turns into our answer? 1 plus 4 equals 5. 1 minus 4 equals negative 3. And there we go. Now I can see that they match. So there's our same 2 real roots that we got with Clarita's strategy factoring, but we did it with complete the square. Last, we're going to go do the full formula. And I want to write the formula up here so you have it handy for the rest of the tasks. X equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. There you go. So now let's go get a, b, and c. Let's use a different color. A would be 1, B would be negative 2, and C would be negative 15. So I get a positive 2 in the front and a positive 2 on the bottom. Underneath the square root, I'm going to get 4, negative 2 squared, minus 4 times negative 15. 4 times 15, that's plus 60. So now I'm going to start to simplify and split up this radical. In the front, I would get 2 over 2. I can see that's going to turn into a 1. Then I'm going to get root 64. Well, isn't root 64 just 8? And isn't 8 over 2 just 4? So now I'm down to the same answer I just got right here, 1 plus or minus 4. So I know that my two answers are x equals negative 3 and 5. My same two real roots I just got with the other two methods. So the formula always works, you guys, whether it's factorable or not, but it simplifies down a lot. You have to be good at the simplifying at the end. What'd you think of all the strategies? Which ones are you thinking are your preferred methods?